Welcome to our house. This is the Screenplay Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Grenis, and with me, as always, PGA Tour player Andrew Novak.
What's up, everyone? We got one round of playoffs in. We got some football to talk.
Where are you this week?
I am in Palm Springs, California. Apologize to everyone if I sound a little funny. I am sick right now, so we're trying to deal with that.
Is that close to any of the fires out there, or not really?
Not, it's like distance wise, it's not terribly far, but we are on the other side of the mountains, so it's not affecting this area too bad.
All right, thoughts going out to everyone out there. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Screenplay_podcast. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you listen to podcasts. This season, we have also partnered with Wager Games. They are giving our listeners a $100 deposit match on the Sleeper app. Head over to our Instagram page, click the link, promo code, get your $100 deposit match. I'm looking at it right now. I like the Jahmyr Gibbs, more than 84.5 rush yards on Saturday. All right. Wild card weekend. Honestly, not super wild. A lot of blowouts. The average margin of victory, I think, was 15 points. We're down to 8 teams. Head coaches, vacancies everywhere. Divisional round matchups coming up. Let's get into it. Monday Night Football from Arizona. We just spoke on it. The Fires got the game moved to Arizona. Rams defeat the Vikings 27-9. Only game on Monday night. I thought it would be a good game. I wanted it to be a good game. It wasn't. Sam Darnold cost himself a lot of money. The master, Sean McVay, beat his protege, Kevin O'Connell. What did you see from this game on Monday night?
Yeah, I really did think that the Vikings were going to bounce back after the tough loss to Detroit, and that just didn't happen. Darnold looked bad. I think that he kind of made the Vikings' decision a lot easier with how he played the last 2 weeks. And I think you will see them roll with JJ going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I was not in that boat 2 weeks ago, but after what we just saw, after taking 9 sacks this past week, and really his play pretty much lost them the game. I mean, there was a lot of other things, but yeah, the last 2 weeks, I was not impressed with Sam Darnold. How much money do you think that actually cost him?
I mean, I think realistically, with how many wins they had this year and how well he played for most of the year, I think you could have seen a Baker type contract going to him, realistically. So what's that? 100+ million for sure. I think he definitely sticks somewhere as a backup going forward, or maybe even as like a bridge quarterback if the Browns wanted to go that direction or something like that. But that's going to come at uh, you know pretty big discount to what he was maybe looking at.
I was thinking that this performance the past couple of weeks could have cost him in like that $60 million range. So like you said, like if he got that Baker like contract, 3 year, $100 million, great. I can see the Vikings still franchise tagging him, giving him $38 million, having him play, I don't know, half the season, maybe like Kirk did, and then you toss
Still as like
JJ in
bridge.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a bridge. So I don't think it's gonna affect his pay this next year, but the next 2, 3 years, like that's where the lapse of the 60 mil would come in. So yeah, I do think he lost some serious money these past few weeks. Okay, so the Rams get by. They got the Eagles next. How do you feel about the Rams moving forward in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, if their defense is going to continue to stand tall, I think they can pretty much hang with most anybody. They do have, like, obviously some talent on offense, some weapons. The biggest thing was the defense looked rough for times of the year. They're playing the Eagles this week. They played in the regular season, and Saquon put up 250 yards on them. So if they're going to win, if they're going to compete going forward, it's going to come down to this defense continuing to play as well as they did against the Vikings this past week.
What's concerning for me is I thought the Rams got pretty beat up playing in that game. Puka got a little banged up, Kyron banged up. What's really concerning is the Rams are now on a short week. The Eagles played on what, Saturday, and the Rams played
Yeah.
on Monday, and now they got to travel across country. That's tough if you're the
I
Rams. Tough
think
situation.
Eagles were on Sunday, weren't they?
Uh,
Or were they
Eagle.
Saturday? Because it was Steelers, Ravens, and Texans,
You're
Chargers
right.
on
You're right.
Saturday.
Regardless,
But
the Rams have
but I
less
mean, still,
rest
you get
time
an
than the
extra day
Eagles do.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Sunday night football. Commanders defeat the Bucs 23-20. We both had Commanders +3. I sprinkled money line.
Yeah,
They did it. Jaden Daniels showed Baker why he made the Pro Bowl over Baker, honestly, in the NFC. All
yeah.
Jaden Daniels does is win. He's a cool customer. Didn't even care that they doinked it in. What did you see
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, that kick was nervy. I could so see that being, miss the kick, go to OT and +3 not hitting. But no, I thought it was a good game back and forth. Definitely um, the most competitive game of the week. I think a lot of people expected to be a pretty close back and forth game. Two teams like reasonably evenly matched with offenses that kind of overachieved this year and suspect defenses. So I think at this point, Washington's just playing with house money. Like they already have a win in the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. That's crazy. Like they're so far ahead of schedule. Even if they lose now, like none of their fans, like yeah, they'll be disappointed they lost, but it's still going to be chalked up as a great year. So I think they can go into this next week playing very free.
Yeah, Pro Football Focus has Jaden Daniels ranked out as the fifth best quarterback in the league behind Lamar, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert. So he is in good company so far. Like you said, they're on house money. So that might scare the Lions a little bit. I mean, they got nothing to lose. They're expected to lose this game. I think it's a big spread this week, 9.5.
Yeah.
What do the Commanders have to do this week to even compete with Detroit?
Yeah, the defense is going to have to step up. Unfortunately, I just don't think this is a very good matchup for them. I think Detroit's ability to just run the ball and be okay running the ball, and then everything coming off that is going to cause some problems. I think for Washington. I, I do have some questions about the run defense, and I would not be surprised if Detroit exposes it. You've given Ben Johnson some time to prep for this. It's yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a tough task for them, but I mean, it's good experience for the young guys on the team, and whatever happens, happens with the game.
Yeah, I can see Detroit trying to run the ball a lot, shorten the game. I do feel like if this is a very high scoring game, if it's a shootout, that gives Jaden Daniels a little more of a chance. Um, if it's low scoring run battle and you keep him off the field, I think that favors Detroit a little bit. But we'll see. Big spread of the week. Let's go to Eagles defeating the Packers 22-10. This game to me kind of fell in the category of unwinnable. I mean, I don't think Love played well, but it felt like Philly didn't either, and they still kind of blew him out of the water.
Yeah,
Packers were battling some injuries. I've said this a couple weeks in a row. Christian Watson, if he's out, Green Bay's not the same team. He was out this week. On top of that, they lose Romeo Dobbs. They lose Jaden Reed. They lose their left guard. They lose their center all throughout the course of the game at Philadelphia. Like I said, just it kind of felt unwinnable.
yeah. I mean, Love was rough, but like they didn't have they didn't have enough troops for it. Like literally, they just kept losing dudes, and you can only lose so much. Like it becomes unreplaceable. Uh, Obviously tough year because they started out so strong. I thought their defense looked great uh, at times, but NFC's brutal. They're in a brutal division right now. They'll reload. I expect Green Bay to be a very good team and a contender again next year. They just need the guys. They need better injury luck.
Yeah, I think their defense is the youngest in the league, and they led the league in interceptions.
Yeah.
So I see the Green Bay Packers at least getting back to the playoffs next year. No real worries with them. The NFC was just way too deep this year. All right, let's get to another blowout. Bills defeat the Broncos 31-7. Broncos take an early 7-0 lead with a deep shot. They also succeed on a fake punt in the first half. They still get blown out by 24 points. This is another game in the unwinnable category to me. If you go up 7-0 with a deep shot and you also succeed on a fake punt in the first half and still get blown out, like Sean Payton knows that like they needed an extra possession. They needed some crazy stuff to happen this game for it to go their way. Bills kill them. Not much of a surprise there. What did you see?
Yeah. I think Denver's another team. They're ahead of schedule. Like with a rookie quarterback, they were definitely like overmatched in this game. I think their defense is in a good spot going forward. They've got some talent back there. I think they just need to add more on offense. Obviously, Bo Nix looks like he is going to be a decent player in this league. I think you give him a little bit more work to work with. I would not be surprised to see them invest in maybe a new running back for next year. They had kind of a rotating door this year. I didn't feel like anybody really excelled running the ball in that offense, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and grab a running back. But I think Sean Payton definitely has to be a little bit pleased with how this team performed this year and making it to the playoffs in what was considered, a tough division.
Yeah, absolutely. Tough division, rookie quarterback making the playoffs. Really good. like you said, I think they are going to invest in a running back, Javante Jaleel, and then something weird with Estime. He was
Audrey,
a
yeah,
hell.
yeah.
I don't know what happened, but he was a healthy scratch this week. I think they waived him too or released him, so they're going to be in that running back market. And then I think they need a tight end as well. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback. Got to get them tight ends. Adam
Yeah.
Troutman and Lucas
We're
Kroll. Who the hell is that? Like,
we're
you've
so
got
used to like Sean Payton offenses having a great tight
he
end
need
too.
he
So
needs his Zach Ertz that Jaden Daniels has in Denver. All right. Ravens defeat the Steelers 28-14. This game was never close. Never felt like Pittsburgh was in this game. Kind of feels like the Ravens and the Bills were destined to play each other in the next round for the right to play Mahomes in the AFC Championship. What did you see out of this game?
yeah, Baltimore just flat out was the better team. They ran the ball. The only way Steelers were really going to win this game, I thought, was going to be possessing the ball and running the ball, and they just didn't run the ball as well as the Ravens. The Ravens held the ball, and really the score doesn't even quite tell the story of how this game went. Baltimore's just really good right now. They're really strong. I'm super excited for this Ravens Bills game. I think it's two teams that not only are two of the best teams in the NFL, they're two teams that are both playing very well at this moment. So I think we're going to learn a lot this week in that game.
Absolutely. I like looking at Lamar and Henry's stat lines. Like you can just look at their stats prior or their attempts and just tell the results of the game. So I see Lamar threw the ball 21 times and Henry ran the ball 26 times. Like I don't have to look at the score to know that the Ravens absolutely destroyed whoever they played.
Yeah.
When Lamar starts getting those attempts up and Henry starts getting those attempts down, like I know it's either close or they lost that game. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do this weekend. All right, we get last game Texans defeat the Chargers 32-12. The score does not indicate how this game went. If I told you that CJ Stroud had an interception and the Texans fumbled the ball twice against Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, you would think that they went on to win the game. Nope, Texans take this one by 20 thanks to 4 interceptions from Herbert. If you're a Herbert hater, now's a good time to speak up. I mean, he just for a great quarterback, he cannot win anything. I'm not super worried. They're ahead of schedule as well. You'll probably touch on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he had more picks in this game than he had the entire season.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
I, I definitely think that he is going to have to get this playoff thing addressed. Obviously, like I would say a couple of the picks weren't necessarily his fault this week. One was
Right.
directly through the hands of Disley. I do think that they could probably invest in a little bit of help. That offensive line, I think, can be good, but they need to stay healthy because the depth of that offensive line was really awful, especially the interior of that offensive line this year. I still think Herbert's a great quarterback. I think that they can win with a lot of what they have now. Maybe one more piece on the outside. I think getting him a good tight end in the draft would be really awesome. I've seen some mocks with Tyler Warren going to the Chargers. I think that would be awesome. I think he would allow them to do so much on offense, and that would fit exactly kind of what Jim Harbaugh's looking to do. So I think this becomes a very interesting draft for the Chargers.
Yeah. This result surprised me. I really thought the Chargers were going to take this game. Lad McConkey with 14 targets, 197 yards. It was really Justin and Lad versus Stroud and Nico Collins. Yeah, interesting draft for the Chargers in the offseason. I think they need to add more weapons. I mean, throwing it 14 times to your rookie wide receiver is cool, but probably not a recipe to win playoff games. Texans, I thought they looked terrible in this 20-point win. They head into Arrowhead next week. Do they have any hope there?
I do think this Texans defense is a little bit underrated. Obviously, I think I touched on it last week, talking about Daniil Hunter getting snubbed, um, how great he's been. I think this pass rush is basically going to be their one and only way to win this game. Um, they're going to have to pressure Mahomes, and this defense is going to have to get Kansas City off the field. I don't think this offense is magically going to look better than they've looked any of the past 2 months against one of the best defenses in the league. So it's basically going to come down to them basically heating up the quarterback and winning a low scoring, ugly game.
Yeah, from what I've seen out of CJ Stroud, I don't think from what I've seen the past few weeks, I don't think he's playing well enough to go into Arrowhead and win a game in the playoffs right now. Just he hasn't shown me any type of consistency that makes me believe he can do that right now. All right, let's get into some talking points. Patriots hire Mike Vrabel. I'm a Patriots fan. I like the hire. I don't really think there was a better candidate for us to take at the moment. What do you think with the hire?
Yeah. I think we both talked about it last year. We thought that was going to be the move last year. It's just comes 1 year later. I think he makes a ton of sense there. Obviously, the fans love him. And luckily for him, it seems like they did a pretty good, decent job in the draft last year. Obviously, like Jalen Polk hasn't quite like panned out, but it looks like with Drake May, you got a decent young core around him. Like there's stuff to work with there. I think Mike Vrabel has proved that he can be a good coach in the NFL. So I think he will attract decent coordinators. I would think that a young offensive coordinator would love to go work with that in New England, especially if they're going to invest some draft capital on some weapons for him. So I think that this is a team that will probably end up on some sleeper list for next year, like a team that might not. I mean, yeah, break out a little bit, surprise some people.
Yeah, I think next year getting to 9 or 10 wins is not out of the question. I think the AFC is pretty weak. I think
Yeah.
the Jets and the Dolphins are still down teams. They're going to be down next year. And then you're talking about a fourth place team schedule. So they're going to get a couple easy games baked in there. You hit on a couple players. Yeah, the Harbaugh type 9 or 10 wins sneak into the playoffs. It's not out of the question. Let's get to another coach who parted ways with his team, Mike McCarthy. I kind of love what he did. What they parted ways. So what this says to me is Mike McCarthy knows his worth, his value, his open market. He knows how good of a coach he is, and he went probably to Jerry and said, "Give me a ridiculous contract." Jerry said no, and he's like, "All right, I'm walking because I've had it with this." I think Mike McCarthy gets hired in the next week. What do you think?
Yeah, he's absolutely a great name out there. I do think he's a pretty good coach. I think he got a little bit fed up with what he was dealing with in Dallas, and I'd love to see him end up in Jacksonville. You go from maybe some of the highest expectations, some of the highest scrutiny in Dallas. You get to, a little bit more laid back in Jacksonville. You've got some stuff to work with there. Trevor Lawrence, like, can be fixed. I do believe that. Um, I would love to see him end up there. Just let him work, give him a couple years there, and see what he can do.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. I don't know where he'll end up. Listen, the Saints cap situation's not great. But that division is pretty bad. And Mike
The
McCarthy is
division's
one.
bad.
He's one of those stable guys where I feel like no matter where he goes, he will be able to like turn it around and get you into double digit wins. And the Saints, their division, you can do that there. So I could see him taking over in New Orleans and maybe not in the first year, but getting that team back to double digit wins in 2 or 3 years.
I just think the Saints with that cap situation, like, it's so rough there. Like, I feel like that is just the worst available job on the market. I understand
But
the
that's
division is weak.
also what is possibly attractive about that is there is leeway. So no, you're not going to go in there with expectations. The owner's going to give you
They're
4 or 5.
giving you
They
well,
like
yeah,
it's like, hey,
yeah.
like, listen, I'm not going to fire you after 2 years. Like you get 3, 4, 5 years to work with this, and we'll see what happens. So
Yeah.
that is the one thing. We'll get into some of these teams with the openings. But who's coaching in Dallas next year? At this rate, honestly, like if Jerry Jones is like, I'm gonna be the coach of the team next year. Like it wouldn't shock me. Like
I
they're
would
not gonna get
love
the best candidate. Like I would.
I would
Who's
love to see Dion get the job and then them try and pull all kinds of shenanigans to make sure Shador ends up there. I would just love the chaos of it. I really don't care who they hire, but that would just be so exciting for me because
yeah.
it would upset many, many people.
I feel like a candidate. I feel like whoever's coaching Dallas, like we haven't even thought about yet. I mean, the fact
There's
that
going
I
to be a
have
lot of guys that say no.
the fact that I have Deion Sanders' name even down here is a joke. Yeah. All right. So these are the teams that's left. We have the Jets, the Cowboys, the Raiders, the Saints, the Jags, and the Bears. I want to go ahead and let's rank these job openings. 1 through 6. Who do you got?
So one being best right now.
One being the best job opening, 6 being the worst job opening for these teams.
I've got the Bears at 1. I think you have, solid young quarterback you can build around. He just needs a little bit of direction. Second, I'm going the Jags. Again, you have a good quarterback you can work with and a little bit lower expectations there. So I think that's a decent spot. Third, I'm going with the Raiders. They have good draft capital. It's a little bit questionable. I was kind of flip-flopping around this, but I do think the Raiders could be a good spot for someone to land. Fourth, I'm going with the Cowboys. Obviously, like they have a roster you could probably win some games with next year, but just dealing with Jerry just does not sound very fun. Fifth, I'm going with the Jets. I think there's just a full rebuild there, and I don't know if they're going to be patient enough with a coach that comes in. And six, I'm going with the Saints. I just do not like their cap situation there. I think they've got a lot to fix. If it is something like a McCarthy going there, where it's like, hey, you have 4 or 5 years, build it up. Like not that bad, I guess, but it's going to take a while, I think, in New Orleans.
Yeah, we're pretty far off on what we think here. I mean, I do agree. I got the Jags in the one spot there. I think it's the best opening right now. Trevor, the division's not too bad, so I think that's one. Number two, I got the Jets. I do think they have some pieces. I think Aaron Rodgers was on his way out. I think you can restart there with the Jets. At three, I got Saints. The cap is troubling, but I believe if you're the new coach of the Saints, you're going to get a long leash 4 or 5 years in an easy conference. All you got to do is get to 9, 10 wins. At four, I got the Bears. I think their conference is too hard. I don't know how you're going to have success there over the next 2 years. Five, I got the Cowboys. Just wouldn't want to deal with the owner. And then at six, I don't care who the coach of the Raiders is. Like you cannot be successful there. You're going to be playing Patrick Mahomes. Bo Nix and Sean Payton just got to the playoffs, and then you have Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. Like, how are you supposed to compete with that? Anyone who's coaching the Raiders in the next 6 years, it's a failed position waiting to happen. So let's get to one more talking point. Deshaun Watson. He re-injures his Achilles. I believe he got surgery on it for the second time. His cap hit this coming year is 73 million. His cap hit the following year is 73 million again. Is this, I mean, I can't, will he ever touch the field again?
I don't think so. No,
No,
I don't see any reason a team would bother.
no. I think that's about all the time of day we're going to give Deshaun Watson here on this
Yeah.
podcast. We may never mention his name again. We'll see. All right. Gambling. We've been hot. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 games this week. Let's start it off with the lines on Saturday, 4:30. We get Texans at Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 8.5. Night game, we get Commanders at Lions. Lions favored by 9.5. On Sunday, 3 p.m., we get Rams at Eagles. Eagles favored by 6. And at 6:30, we get Ravens at Bills. Big marquee matchup of the weekend. Bills are getting 1.5 at home. Is there a must-win game this week? Second round of the playoffs?
I didn't see any that really stood out, but I will throw Kansas City at home against Houston. If you lose that game, obviously not a good look, but that may be the end of like Travis Kelce. That may be even the end of Andy Reid. He may just be done with. I don't know. Um, I think as long as you keep winning games, winning Super Bowls, guys stay happy. They might stick around. So it's not like a super must-win game, but I'm throwing that on there.
This might be too hot of a take, but I'm going to put the Eagles. I still think that if the Eagles like lose this week and Sirianni got fired, I wouldn't be surprised. I think with the roster they have, they need to beat the Rams at home. Yeah, if the Eagles lose at home to the Rams at this point with that team, like the Philadelphia fans will be talking. I don't
Yeah,
think that's a question.
I don't disagree there.
All right, last week we were hot. I was hot. Andrew's bets over the past month have just been hot. I think you're 10-2 in your last 4 weeks. Crazy, crazy hot. 10-1 if we void that Monday bet due to a location change. But yeah, you're hitting crazy percentages. I went 3-0 last week. Last week we both took Commanders +3. We both took Eagles -4.5. I think we said this when we take the
We
same
don't miss.
bets, we don't miss. Yeah, it's
No,
gotta, there's I think 2 years on the podcast. When we match bets, they don't miss. This week we'll be doing 2 bets each, 4 games. I think picking 2 of them is fair. 50% of them. So that's what we'll do. I will start it off. This week I'm taking Eagles -6. I think they absolutely destroy the Rams. On a short week. And then I am taking Bills. I'm just gonna say it. Bills money line. They're at home. Uh, I just think the Bills win this game. I trust Josh Allen a little more than Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar's pass attempts start creeping up, and the Bills end up taking this one at home. They're getting points. I don't get why. I like the Bills. What do you got?
Yeah, I'll join you on the Bills there as well. I like that line a lot. I think at home, this is going to be a rowdy atmosphere. I think they take that game. And then my second one feels kind of gross, but give me Houston +8.5 at KC. I do think Kansas City wins this game, but they love to win games by not a lot. So I'm going to take the points there.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't have it, but I don't hate that. I think Zay Flowers injury is also something that is people are not discussing enough. It's literally Lamar and Henry versus I mean
I think Bateman slept on a little bit, but he's not going to be doing the same dynamic things as A Flowers does. So yeah,
tight end work, but yeah, I mean when you just look at the roster as a whole, I like the Bills. Damn, it seems like the Chiefs every year. So let's see. The Chiefs get a bye. They get to play Texans at home, and then they're going to play a beat up Ravens or a beat up Bills who just gave their 100% everything.
yeah,
The Chiefs have to win like 1.5 football games in the playoffs every year to get into the Super Bowl. It's the old
oh my
Brady
goodness.
old Brady thing. All right. Divisional weekend, 4 football games. Good luck in California. Stay safe. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at screenplay_podcast. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you listen to podcasts. Any final words for our listeners?
Just shout out Wofford basketball beat the crap out of Furman. A bunch of those bums over there. So yeah, shout out to them.
I still have my purple as fugly shirt.
That's right.
All right. We'll see y'all. Appreciate it.